On what is, if you're a football supporter, the second best Friday of the year. Thanks very much for joining us. Firstly, on a somber note, sending out our best wishes to Sam Willoughby, BMX rider, who has had a pretty bad training accident this month, and he doesn't have a lot of feeling below his chest. So Sam, sending out all the best vibes to get well soon. We are here with Ryan Flynn.
Hello.
You. G'day. We do have a pretty busy office here for MCL. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for getting me out of the office.
When I called you during the week, just to get a bit of a backstory, I was blown away by what you've achieved. And no disrespect, I am in a lot of WhatsApp groups with yourself and things. I had no idea that you've done what you've done. I thought you were just a crazy guy who rode to Sydney and back a couple of times, rode to Adelaide, did Red Hook.
Yeah.
Mate, tell us a little bit about your backstory and how you got involved in cycling.
Well, my uncle Peter, who is also a big Swan supporter.
G'day, Pete.
And he got me into cycling when I was quite young, I guess. Well, not super young, 18. He was living in the UK.
Quite late. Right?
Yeah, quite late. I mean, he was a big track rider. He was living in the UK, loved sort of velodrome kind of track racing. He loved being a part of kind of that UK time trialling kind of fanatical, go fast as you can for 10 miles or 20 miles. So he just had a wall full of bikes, really. And yeah.
So you took one and just went off?
Well, kind of just got involved in more tinkering and fixing bikes, and then later on started actually getting involved in triathlon. I had a strong swimming background, and all South Africans are either, you're playing rugby, cricket, you're playing all kinds of racket sports, team sports. So I just did anything that was a team sport, really.
And did you start off by doing bunch rides, or did you go straight in head first into a race, or?
I was racing triathlon. I started
Which we will touch on. Now, when he says racing triathlon, utter understatement. So we'll come back to that, but yeah.
No, I was kind of in the pool, and I thought cycling was a 20k time trial or a 40k time trial. That was my kind of introduction.
They didn't ride around France or anything.
No. And then next minute, he flew me over to Sydney. I hadn't seen him in a long time. He'd emigrated to Australia. I'd never been, and I was like, oh yeah, let's go and check it out. He said, yeah, we're going to go do this race up a mountain. You'll love it. It's Mount Buller. You know when they used to put that race on?
Yeah.
And we'd go
From
straight
Mansfield
up. Yeah, Mansfield.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't do that anymore, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They have the Tour of Mansfield nowadays, but it's not the same as that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I met, funnily enough, all of the guys that I ride with today. The old spokes and some of the old boys that smash up and down Beach Road. So 20Ks, 40Ks to this
900
huge
Ks.
climb.
Yeah.
And I was going, how are these 50-year-old men just smashing me, like literally ripping my legs off whilst telling jokes, being that typical Australian larrikin.
And now that's you. Except you're not 50.
Well, yeah, not 50, but no, it was a bit of an eye-opener, but that's how I got kind of into cycling, was through my Uncle Peter, who's probably watching right now.
Peter, if you're watching, just chuck in the comments. Guys, we are live.
Abuse at,
so whatever you comment there, if you want to ask Ryan a question, just type it in and let us know. Scott, and is that Eli or Ellie? Yeah, that is the Maven's call that you heard. Tears. So that brought you over to Melbourne, and then did you stay here? Or?
No, it was just purely a holiday to see Uncle Pete, and then next minute I was like, Australia is
the best.
It's like the best country ever. Why are all the Australians living in London? I just will never work it out. But when you have it so good, I guess you've got to go elsewhere to figure that out. But I was like, gee, this is like South Africa without any of the political and racial issues. Wow, you've got it good here. Let's see how I can move over. And I was working for an international brokerage, an aviation brokerage. Funnily enough, they acquired a logistics business here, and we're doing a lot of government and defence kind of work in aviation, moving the Australian Defence Force into Afghanistan and Iraq, and we're involved in Syria. So we bought into that business, and then I came over to assist in that setup and expansion. So that was kind of nothing to do with cycling, but yeah.
But a bit of context as to how you sort of
That's what
got
brought
over
me
here.
to the country, because when I realised that was happening, I was like, yeah, I'd love to come here. And it was Melbourne. It wasn't Sydney, but to be honest, I think Melbourne's
The best.
Melbourne's for me, except this winter's been really wet, really quite difficult.
Quite fattening.
Yeah, quite fattening. Gooder, Maven.
I'm an example of that.
I have not seen a stomach like that.
I even put a special.
long time.
I put a special lens on this phone. If you realise the broadcast is a bit different to make us look a bit thinner today. Schwarter says, "Will Sydney win today?" Absolutely, mate.
Definitely.
Ryan Coleman, are you on a strict? Good question. Ryan, are you on a strict diet for all your cycling, or do you just watch what you eat?
Yeah, I just think, if you cycle a lot, you can eat as much as you like, right?
Every coach and dietitian out there go, "What's this guy saying?"
No, I'm really lucky to live with quite a special lady, Carmen Barry, and she is like a nutritionist, and she's very good in keeping me on the right track. She's actually really wonderful in making some serious meal plans for me. That it's not too strict. Like it's not. Oh, you can't have any sugar. Don't
So you're
have
not
any
weighing
chocolate.
your food?
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. Actually, the food's just there when I get home. It's wonderful.
Oh,
And
living the dream.
breakfasts are made and lunches, and yeah, it's really nice. So get yourself a Carmen. I think it's House of Valor. She's very good.
Do you get a kickback for that? You should.
Well, hopefully I'll get some food tonight.
Aaron, do you get on the indoor trainer much? If so, how often and what trainer do you use? We know. So Ryan, in case you haven't seen it, he was on Cycling Maven's vlog yesterday. Is in training from Melbourne to Warrnambool, and a big part of that, if you have the option to do it, is motor pacing. It really gives you quite a lot of experience at race pace without sort of the danger of being in a bunch. Mate, do you do a lot of the inside? Do you do a lot of indoor trainers?
I just actually sold my indoor trainer to...
Right now?
Well...
Just before the morning?
I was like, right, you're going outside. No, I didn't really use it that much.
Okay.
Even though Melbourne's obviously very wet.
Do you hate it, or do you just don't want to do it?
I just don't enjoy the indoor train. I've got some rollers, and I find that's actually a bit more interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really get on with. I had one of those Le Monde Revolution things, and it was pretty cool. Apparently, you can get like a watt box. Shane was telling me about a watt box, and I was trying to research getting online this whole online community that I don't really know much about. But check out Shane's The Llama, and you'll probably see a lot of how-tos on Zwift and that whole online indoor cycling community, which is brilliant for guys like us that are struggling in the winter. But yeah, I just didn't get that far. I just sort of went outside and got very cold and very wet.
Well, Shane's asked a question from 2 metres away. Is Diane Wood an influence? And on the live of Rhino, are you a fan of Uladian Ninja? Does that question make any sense to you?
Die Antwoord, it means the answer in Afrikaans, and it's a band.
So you're even learning stuff here, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Continue, yeah.
I thought you were just a joker.
Yeah, and what? Does Ryan have a teenager to get?
No. Eli said, do you have any tips for a teenager to get started at a bike store?
Oh, sorry.
So, is that...
Yeah, I mean, check out Curve Cycling. They're always looking for young, talented, passionate individuals. Even if you don't have any experience, that's a good start.
Eli or Ellie, I'm not quite sure. Are you in Melbourne? Let us know in the comments. If you're here, for once Ryan is serious, he's actually not. We're paying him a truckload of money to be this way. Aaron, thanks lad. So I suppose, do you want to go into what you and Hilson go doggies? I agree. Mate, do you want to go into we touched on a triathlon.
Yeah.
You said that you did triathlon. You weren't just rocking around in the Gatorade series. Give us a bit of context behind your prowess on the 30% good at everything sport.
Oh, yeah, I know. Multi-sport, as Amy was saying, is quite difficult to train for, and I realised I had a body made out of glass when it came to kind of that impact in the running. I was a great swimmer as a kid, and in South Africa you kind of do like nippers and life saving.
Okay, yeah.
The South African life saving sort of was a huge part of my kind of childhood upbringing. I was brought up in South Africa, but in the Western Cape, and we lived in Somerset West, which is kind of just round the bay in Cape Town. So I was in part of the Strand life-saving sort of clubs, that very big, kind of community spirited, but they teach you a very strong platform for open water swimming, and that's a very big part of triathlon. So I had a solid grounding from a very young age, maybe 6 or 7. See you, Shane. And yeah, so that's obviously a big part. If you can, I was doing Olympic and sprint kind of distance racing. Many years later, you know, thought I was going to be a rugby player. My father was a great rugby player. My brother is a huge monster of a South African.
And then you're a cyclist.
And I popped out as this tiny little alien, you know, with legs. And it was like, oh, he's like a T-Rex. I don't think he's going to be able to play.
The milkman.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not so sure I came from you, but maybe, yeah, anyway.
Well, right, Warwick, do you still ride mountain bike anymore? And if so, do you ever race? You have done a mountain bike race.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty.
I did the
epic,
Cape
if you
Epic.
like.
Yeah. I went back. Chris Hellman, who's a really strong rider for Park Trent and raced elite as a mountain bike. He's a 24-hour kind of guy. He thought it was a great idea to have me as his partner. And I was like, wow, this is a big task. So I'd never done mountain biking before. This was like 2-3 years ago, just started, got a mountain bike from Luke at Total Rush. Do you know Total Rush?
Sydney, Luke McKenzie, yeah.
Funnily, no, Luke Agate.
Oh, Luke Agate, okay,
Yeah. And that's actually, years later, he's now part of the Elwood Old Spokes. That's what I love about cycling, it's this community and all these guts here. And so he said, do you want to do Cape Epic? I went online and found a mountain bike. Luke very kindly sold it to me for a great deal. And I was like, this is awesome, let's go do it. Went to Wombat and to all these cool little places and started like just messing around. Obviously, growing up on a farm in South Africa, you've got good motocross kind of.
So your handling's not bad.
Yes, the handling was good, and I was like, oh, this is great. I love it. It's like the road is brilliant, but mountain biking and cross-country mountain biking is like another world of gnarly kind of dudes. Really fun environment. Just super cool. If you ever get a chance to go out to any of the trails here, I mean, you guys had the Olympic cross-country course here. So then, just got thrown in the deep end with the Cape Epic, which is like the Tour de France for mountain bikers. It's really unusual because instead of like being in a road environment where if you want to race elite, you have to be elite. I'm certainly not elite, but I got to race with guys like Nino Schurter.
Yeah.
You know, he's Olympic gold medalist, cross-country world champion. And these guys were behind me as we were doing the prologue, and I was like, oh, shit, the world champion! And I just pulled off and was just trying to take photos whilst we're supposed to be racing. It's like, it was great.
You've got to get that gram.
Oh,
you know.
and I didn't even know what Instagram was 2 years ago. So it was. I think that was my first picture. Was a picture of the Cape Epic.
We did get sidetracked. I'm gonna forward it to triathlon European champs.
Yeah, I went
silver
to the Europeans. Yeah, I got a silver medal. That was really.
So silver
that was a
medal,
very proud day for
triathlon,
me. Yeah, a very proud day, and because I was sitting in 4th or 5th. It was a really windy bike course. I think what helped me was it was in Israel. The European champs are held in Israel, and I was like, okay, roll with it.
Neutral territory.
Yeah, it was getting into Tel Aviv was great fun with your bikes because everyone was like, okay, now we're just going to do a little bit of an inspection. And I was like, what? I'm just coming here for a race. They're like, no, come this way. And then you all like frog march down this little paddock to a special area and they take apart everything and look, they're so
Did you get them to build the bike though?
Well, no, then in typical, you know, when they go through all your stuff, then they just go, thank you, have a nice day. And you're like, holy shit's everywhere. And you're like, are you serious? So, yeah.
Could have at least put the pedals on.
Yeah, well, there was nothing left on my bike. I had to completely put it together because they just think, you know, there's something going on there. But yeah, so it was no wetsuit because it was in Eilat, which is the Dead Sea.
Yeah, you just float.
Black Sea. So
you
yeah,
just be floating on top of the water. Yeah.
So no wetsuit, super warm. I was like, this is great. It suits me because I'm a good open water swimmer anyway, so I don't need the additional buoyancy for a wetsuit. Because that's essentially what a wetsuit does. It kind of lifts your bum and raises your profile in the water to make you more streamlined and more efficient. So the other guys were a bit slow. I came out of the water pretty quick, but the bike was flat and windy, and I'm not really that kind of power rider.
You know what Melbourne to Warrnambool's like, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully you fix that side
There's
of the
a
game.
story behind that.
Yeah.
Though. I'm doing the Melbourne to Warrnambool because a friend, it's his birthday, and stupidly when you go to a friend and you go, hey, what would you like for your birthday? And they go, hey mate, can you get me like that really cool like blow up doll that we always fantasized about? No,
He wants you to ride
He
through
wants
the
me
game.
to do the warning. So I was like, okay, yeah, well, fine. We'll
Plus,
we'll do it.
drinks at Whalers in Warrnambool straight after is just on the cards. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Maybe
apparently.
Tell me more.
No, I'm not while we're live. But, mate, so you're going to triathlon.
Yeah, that
Talk
was.
us through windy bike leg, then you get
Sorry,
on to the run.
windy bike leg.
Were the Brownleys around?
Yeah, well, the Brownleys were.
Alistair's?
Yeah, they were both around.
Okay, yeah.
That was at the Worlds where I first met the Brownleys in
Do you have their number in your
in
phone?
Beijing. No. Yeah, no, they were. They're a very, very incredible kind of force in triathlon.
You just saw last week with helping across the line.
Yeah, Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny obviously didn't pace himself for the
And
last
Alistair,
2K.
Alistair lost the world champ by letting him finish in front.
That's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah.
He's a really special, elite, super elite bike rider, swimmer, and runner. But he's a great sportsman as well. I mean, just incredible. Because they were obviously running for the podium. He was with was it one of the South Africans, Skuman?
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously Skuman didn't know what was going on because he's also quite a nice chap, and he probably would have pulled over and got the other side of Johnny. But Johnny was miles ahead. He had such a significant lead. He could have paced himself. But I think that's the difference between just like amateur kind of guys that are pushing hard, and then the elite guys that can lock themselves in a box like that and just rip themselves apart until they almost collapse and don't even know where they are. I mean, that was amazing. But yeah, anyway, so I'll finish the story.
Well, I was going to shout out to Ellie. Ellie, thanks for commenting, and you live in Caulfield. Even Fitzroy Cycles is in Caulfield, and that other big giant store that's there. Either one of them is there, pretty cool, just around the corner from you. So thanks very much for writing in. Go
Sorry,
on.
I'm reading all these bloody...
Yeah, we'll get to them. I've seen Andy Bryan's name.
Oh, Andy added me. I'm very proud to have
You're
him.
an MCL club champ.
Yeah, he's following my Strava. I've been following that guy for so long. He's an amazing
He finally
rider.
reciprocated.
Yeah, he's like, I'll follow you back, Rhino. I was like, wow.
Probably because you average 11,000 kilometres a week, he's a bit intimidated.
No, yeah, but the difference is he takes 400 hours to do like 15,000 Ks a year. I take 600. So there's a massive difference in ability. But yeah, great rider. Thanks for the support.
Adam Smith, have you discovered the real reason for motor pacing yet? Greg Hamer from Attacker, go Bloods and Swans. Greg,
He does it every week.
it's good. I like your hustle on the Swans, and you're from Sydney, so that's good. So we get to the run. Let's fast forward to the run league.
Yeah, so I was sitting in 4th or 5th. There was a Hungarian in front of me who's a good friend now, David Kofax, who's hopefully watching from Bud. Hey man. Yeah. I chased him down, and he's a monster of a guy.
What'd you say to him as you went past? Just give him a bit of a...
I actually, a little bit of vomit came out of my mouth.
On him?
Yeah.
All right.
That's kind of how we became friends. But then the proudest moment was overtaking David. He was currently in 2nd, I think, obviously, and then managed to get over the finish line. The only photo I've got is me just throwing up all over the finish.
Keeper.
So
Send that to mum.
Yeah, it was great. So yeah, happy about that because the 2 worlds that I raced at the Beijing World Tri Champs. The bike leg was a bit confusing. The run course, I just essentially skipped the run course, thought I'd won the whole race. And I was like, wow, I've done my fastest ever run. And it's like, no, you've been disqualified because you've cut the whole course. I was like, fuck. And then the Worlds in Auckland, I crashed just coming out on my bike. I was looking down trying to get my pedal in, and I smashed into the barrier and I just folded my whole carbon rim. So it's like
warranty.
2 for 2. Yeah, well, you're not thinking about a warranty at that stage. You just like trained for 12 months. So I was kind of just thinking, how did I do this 2 years in a row?
Mark's actually written in and just commented on the hoodie that you're still wearing from yesterday.
Yeah. Well,
A big night, or you wash it, or you got Curve sponsor you a few bits of different uniform, or
no, this is guys, please, can you give me another thing to wear?
he's in the same clothes all the time, guys.
I'm wearing the same stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, I can turn it inside out and hang on. Yeah. That kind of works as a.
Oh, it goes the other way.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't really.
You could look kind of like the bee emoji though.
You can, but yeah, no, you don't have to wash your hoodie like every time you wear it, do you?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
I mean,
All right,
thanks, Mark.
let's fast forward a few years.
Okay,
This year,
this year.
you raced Red Hook, Barcelona.
Well, I attempted to race.
I didn't even. I've seen you on the track a couple of times.
Yeah.
Am I wrong in saying that you're not a trackie? Are you a trackie?
No, I just started racing track 3 months ago when you saw
3
me.
months ago.
4 months
and
ago.
so you go to Red Hook.
Yeah. Well,
Explain the thought process behind that.
I think you don't want to wake up in the morning one day and go, why didn't I pursue that opportunity? Or why
Of
didn't I
racing
go
a
and
fixed
do
race
that?
in Barcelona.
Yeah, like why didn't I go to Barcelona and race on a track bike with like lunatics?
Is that what it's like?
It is the scariest thing I've ever done on a bike.
From their skill level above yours, or from handling, or you just were out of your depth?
All of the above, my friend. All of the above. Like Red Hook has changed a lot from the messenger kind of unsanctioned racing that it kind of started in the US, in New York or Brooklyn. It's Red Hook.
Yeah,
is
Red
a
Hook,
little
yeah.
place in Brooklyn by the docks, and this is where all these messengers would race.
It's for Dave Trimble's birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I met your friend Dave. I'd heard about. Is it true?
Oh, no, we're not going into it. We're not. Remember that we're
we're not?
live.
Okay.
So anyway, just wait. Yeah,
Sorry.
continue on.
Sorry. Yeah. So. Anyway.
Can we edit that?
Yeah. No. I thought, why not? I met up with. I was obviously in the UK. Curve's Adam Lana, one of the founders, was in the UK as well. I was over there supporting that, and I was seeing my mum. She was unfortunately ill. Hey, mum. I hope you're doing.
I hope you're better.
And yeah, so it was only a short hop across to Barcelona. I'd never been. I thought it would be a great opportunity to race if I could. I wrote to Dave because it was completely full. And I said, mate, it's Curve Cycling that want me to do this. I've never done it before. Completely appreciate if you say, listen, dude, you're not even like a fixed fixed dude. You're like, I was like, and he said, yeah, come have a go. We'll put you into like the 6th seeding wave. So as an unranked rider, what you have to do is like GP, thanks.
People was handing
out fat yaks everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
so you'd have to do a flying qualifying lap, and I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. I'll do it. And it was like 18 turns. Obviously on the track there's 4, and they don't really look
And there's
like
no
turns.
turkey.
There's no bank to
Yeah.
encourage you to turn around the corners. So on a track bike you're just leaning. You're not really turning. I was
The
like,
autopilot.
how are there 4 turns? So this thing had like 18 turns, and this hairpin where you come from a long straight and then do this crazy hairpin. And I was going, so how do you get around that when your entry speed is like 55 or 60 k's an hour?
Close your eyes and hope.
Yeah, I was just going, "Ah!" like hoping the pedal wouldn't scrape the floor. Turns out they actually use shorter cranks.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't bring a 170 to a Red Hook crit. Like, they're all on 165s. They're
That's
running
interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, they're like running really short crank with a fairly big gear, like 51, 13, 51, 14, depending on the rider. And that's a big gear to push on the flat, especially when essentially you're like cyclocross powering out of every corner to get back up to speed. And the speed was immense. So I was qualifying in the very early part of the day, and then what happens is 350 people attempt to qualify for a race that consists of 85. And it's now sponsored, Specialized has got a team, you've got like some big
And then you have
Italians
that
coming
last
over.
chance race.
Yeah, and then
Where
you've
like
got the
everyone goes
last-
hell bent for leather for those extra like 5 or 10 slots.
Yeah, 15.
15
Is
slots.
it 15?
I can't
Yeah,
remember,
because
yeah.
80 qualify.
But it's like you
automatically.
qualify and then there's like a spot of 15 where like the top next like 50 or something go for the.
Yeah, so it's like the first 0 to 80 automatically qualify. They just go relax and they'll be in the race later. And then you get the guys from, I think it's 81 all the way to 150. From 300 people, that's whittled down to the last 15 spots out of that last chance race.
Oof, yeah.
So it's like, wow. And yeah, I was way out of my comfort zone.
But it was good, right?
It was great fun. That's where I learned how to ride my track bike out on the road. So that was my first experience of riding on the road.
There you go. May as well just get in the deep end. Alistair George, will we see you at the Indian Pacific Wheel Race?
Oh yes, yeah, I would love to be a part of that. Unfortunately, because we're in Perth and it overlapped with Race to the Rock. Curve put on this really cool race with Jesse Carson, probably one of Australia's greatest distance riders.
Apart from yourself.
No. No, he's very special. Like the male greatest Australian distance rider at the moment, I reckon, is Jesse Carson.
Yeah.
And then obviously we've got our great Purple Hammer, Sarah Hammond. So
might try and get them on in a couple of weeks together.
Those two would be an absolute hoot.
Yeah, I know Sarah. I've done the Giro della Donna loop with Sarah. I was more tired from laughing than from riding. I think she's fantastic.
She's a really
Nathan, why is there no YouTube channel from Ryan? I reckon because he likes to be the ring-in, like for the ratings, just for the ratings to go. When Mark's vlog's just dipping a little bit, he just gives him a bit of a call, mate. Do you want to come motor pacing? I need to boost my numbers.
I need to boost my numbers. Yeah, I think you've got to have an incredible amount of respect for YouTubers and what they actually do. Because I mean, if you think about it, a minute of viewing pleasure translates into like an hour and a half to 2 hours of editing, storyboarding. Yeah, and if you're starting out, like I've just seen you've just started your YouTube channel, and I was going, wow, good on you, mate. That's courageous.
Inspired by you two.
Well, I really like helping.
But would you ever put like a GoPro on like things like Red Hook? That would be fascinating, like your documentary of Red Hook.
That would have, and I actually missed a step. I would have.
That's right. Nathan, maybe he will. Maybe the next Red Hook he does, wherever that is
it's in like Milan. It's Milan in October.
That's it. Okay, mate, you've ridden to Sydney twice and Melbourne, back down to Melbourne.
Well, yeah, I started the 2014 year with a bang. Like the 1st of January, I said to a friend, "Hey, why don't we just ride?" I was in Sydney with my uncle.
So it's really everyone else is on the 1st of January is starting to use a bang as like a Morty cruise.
Yeah.
You just start on 900k.
I know, it was silly because we were in the harbour on my uncle's friend's ridiculous yacht, and it was really nice.
Sorry guys, I didn't know we had the way the other half live on Melbourne Cycle League today.
It's my uncle's friend's yacht, so it wasn't our yacht. And so there was fireworks and it was great. If you haven't been to the Sydney fireworks for New Year's, it's beautiful. And we were right by one of those big pontoons, and there was just lots of champagne and girls and fun, and it was great.
And so you just decided to ride the next day?
And then the next day we were like, yeah, we're gonna ride to Melbourne, and it was great. Like we hooked up with Rachel Nayland. She was training at Dave or Brad McGee. Is it Brad McGee?
Brad, yeah.
Place in the Blue Mountains. So we went there and we stopped off there and we met Rachel's dad, and we had this great lamb that they got the South African to cook because no one else knew how to cook a rack of lamb. I was like, yeah, let's just do it, and it was just awesome. And then the next day we'd be like, oh, where should we go? We're like, oh, let's just carry on down this path. Yeah, just head south. And Daniel and I, the guy that I'm doing Melbourne to Warrnambool with, he just said, oh, let's follow the Tour de Cure route for most of it because that's mapped out and it's quite good. And yeah, that's how my kind of, I guess, adventuring on bikes and bike packing. It was essentially Daniel and I with backpacks. And I sent all of my other stuff via post, and it beat me back
here.
Back here.
Just if Australia Post is beating you back, you need to lift your game.
Yeah. I know. I was like, oh, this is a brilliant idea. You can just fly one way and then, bike pack back. It was fun.
All right.
So that was that was like a 7-day, like dip your toe in the water, and then I just tried on
7-day dip your toe.
Yeah, well, then I tried, you know, because Sarah Hammond
It's like
was...
Sorrento return is dip your toe in the water for a ride. Yeah.
Well, you know, but Sarah Hammond was doing obviously the Transamerica. She was leading the race for so long, and I kind of wanted to understand what that felt like physically and mentally. And it was the Queen's birthday weekend, and I thought, why don't we just, I'm talking about my bike and why don't we go and see what that's like? And obviously it's Queen's birthday weekend, it's in the middle of winter, and you're riding from Melbourne to Sydney. And I left from work, and I just thought, right, let's just see what it takes. So I just left and just carried on riding, and I rode and I rode and I rode, and so I went through Friday night, went through Saturday night. I was really tired at this stage. I found like a disabled toilet and just like fell asleep for a bit, and then obviously I used someone's. It was like this homeless dude that it was his disabled toilet, and he was like trying to get in there whilst I was sleeping. So we had to form this arrangement where he could come in and use the facilities and leave my bike there. And then anyway, it got a bit awkward, so I just left it and just carried on riding. And the weather got me of the 600k mark. It was great because you have a lot
Hold
of
on,
time.
if I could print off the WhatsApp group exchange where this actually took part, it is one of the funniest. Waking up at 6:30 and seeing 400 messages from Ryan about a homeless dude is one of the funniest things I'll ever wake up to in my life.
It was unusual. But that's the great thing about cycling. You're always going on an adventure and things are happening. And that's, I think, why Mark
Greg
documents...
Haim has written in, where is this going? Sorry, Greg, we'll get back onto cycling now. Yeah.
Sorry. And anyway, so just carried on riding to see what it felt like as like a guy that's doing these ultra distances like Sarah, lady, and Jessie. You know, what's going through their head? What's happening to their bodies? How do they feel themselves? And the only way you're really going to figure that out is if you just go out there and try it.
Yeah.
So
on a ride like that, like Ellie's written in again, like what pushes you when you're starting to go through the hurt box? What like gives you the strength to be, all right, I've got to keep going?
Well, you know,
desire or?
No, I think you do these things for yourself. You just want to kind of explore the dark areas of the map that are kind of that live or exist inside you, both physically and mentally. So you're kind of just going, well, what is your max? What is your distance? What is your pain threshold? What is, you know, your endurance and how much of that can you take? So, and obviously, you know, you get to upload onto Strava, and guys like this go, what the actual beep on the side. And that's quite
Because I
fun.
understand 4 beers and up before you've ridden to Sydney. Yeah. All right, we're going to get on to the lead to Luca 5.
Oh,
He's the one who suggested we ask you 5 questions.
5 questions.
We do it to most people unless I forget.
Oh,
Which
okay.
happens often.
Okay.
Favourite food?
Favourite food? Biltong, boerewors, anything meat. Sorry to the vegans.
No, it's alright, there's plenty of vegetables in there, okay?
Yeah.
Favourite race that you've ever done, or favourite place you've ridden? It could be a race, it could be a location.
Swaziland is very close to my heart. It's where my father and my stepmother live, and yeah, it's great spot for cycling. Yeah, love it out there.
If you could be a pro cyclist, who would it be? Male or female?
Be a pro.
So who do you think you looks at, you're like, yeah, that would be me? Taylor Finney, he rides across the blue. Morton,
If I could be a pro cyclist, Neil Robinson, probably. Yeah, if I could be Neil Robinson, that'd be pretty freaking awesome.
This leads into our next question.
Yeah.
How many times have you stood Rick Horvat up for a ride?
Oh.
It's got to be into almost triple figures now.
Yeah, more than I've taken your mantle, really.
Yeah. Well, I used to say I wasn't coming. You just don't turn up, mate.
Well, I kind of say I'm not coming,
After
but
we've left.
yeah, but usually, yeah, I'm really sorry about that this morning, Neil.
See, it's just a loaded question.
Is that 3?
That's 3. How many did I say? 5. If you could have any bike in the world, what would it be?
I would really like, well, anything from Curve. True story. I mean, the guys there make some beautiful bikes. they're designed by guys that are really passionate about cycling and for specific adventures. And yeah, I mean, I would really like a titanium track bike just for shits and giggles. So if you could make me one of those, please, that'd be nice.
5. What's next?
What's next?
Yeah.
What's next?
What's next? What are you going to do? Where are you going to ride? What are you going to race?
Oh, obviously the Warnie's coming
like
out.
next. Like that's big, but the...
Oh, okay, next one, there's the Wall handicap race in Sydney on the 9th. You should check that out, that's pretty interesting. And the Belgies on Saturday. I know it's not an official race, but...
The Belgium was on Wednesdays.
No, but this is the Spring Classic Belgium.
Like Tom Boonen style?
Oh, it's Boonen. It pays homage to Boonen like you wouldn't believe.
Might have to get out the quick step
And-
kit and just make a...
Mate, we've been promoting this for how long and you
I
haven't seen it?
Alright, so plug it.
Yeah, so it's Saturday at the
Tomorrow.
new...
It's tomorrow?
What time?
Yeah, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Mate, I ain't going anywhere at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Dude.
So 8 o'clock.
Yeah, 8 o'clock. And Rafa, the new pop-up store, be there at 7:30 for free coffee. I hope it's free. Sorry if it's not free.
Too bad parking Nadine, you got free coffee now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it essentially pays homage to the classic. So it's more fun if you bring a road bike with slick tyres, because then 2 wheels are drifting. There's cobbles, there's grassy knoll. There's a very famous grassy knoll. It's very wet, very muddy.
The second for most famous grass, you know?
But yeah, it's the second. Sorry, yeah.
That was
yeah,
an inappropriate joke. Go on.
Yeah.
Quickly move it, yeah.
And I guarantee you'll have a lot of fun and meet a lot of new friends.
There you go. Ryan, he's hilarious. He's one of the funniest guys. You can follow him on every bit of social media that he has. You're just at Flynn, Ryan?
At Flynn Ryan, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks very much to everyone for tuning in. As always, we really appreciate your support. Next week, I think we're going to have Adam Phelan on.
Ooh.
And then the week after that, we're going to go on a bit of a trip up north, and we'll hopefully have someone interesting from up north to interview. Have a fantastic weekend. Go Swans, stay upright, stay safe, and we'll see you again next week.
Go Swans.